Independent Living Resource Center, San Francisco, ILRCSF, presents the Nick Feldman Wheelchair Repair Program's battery charging issues on a Drive Scout scooter. And this is a list of the tools that you're going to need: a multimeter, a number 2 Phillips screwdriver with a long shank, a razor blade, a charger jumper tester, and a fuse set for this issue. The issue is that Drive Scout scooter batteries are dead and will not take a charge. The questions you have are: will the battery take a charge? No. How long has the scooter sat without a charge? If over 6 months, test the batteries. If under 22 volts for both batteries or 11 volts each, we recommend replacement. What type of charger you're using? There are different types of chargers that have a higher output than others. Do not use a charger with a power chair on a scooter, because the amperage can blow the fuses. And is the charger good? To test the charger, we're going to cover that. And we are working on a Drive battery, and I just did a battery replacement because when we went through to test the inputs on there to test the batteries to see their lifespan, it turns out it wasn't putting anything out. So right now I have our digital multimeter. It's set to voltage DC. It's set the range on it to be at 12 volts. It has 2 new batteries in it. So now we're going to go through and hook up the little, there's a port where you plug in to charge. And on that port, it turns out that there is 3 little ports on there, 3 little contacts. So you're going to go with the 2 across from each other, up and down. I'm sorry if the lighting's not good, so I'm going to put that in there, put that one in there. And it's showing no voltage on there, but if I go and hook it up to one of the batteries, it's showing voltage. So it's showing about 12 volts, which is right for this battery, because they're 12 volts each. So there's 2 batteries, 12 volts, and that equals 24 volts. On the Scouts, if you use the wrong charger or too large of a charger, it could blow an internal fuse. Now they do have this little circuit breaker here. You can press that. Well, it wasn't doing anything when I went to test it out. So on here, you see 2 fuses. There's one fuse that goes out to pretty much to power the motor. And there's one fuse that's internal from the port that goes to the batteries to allow it to charge. These are wrapped in shrink wrap, so you can't see them. Because if you could visually look at them, you can see on the things, or you could just test them themselves. So I found an open in this number 5 on here. So I'm going to go and swap out the fuse and check it. Now this usually happens when you use a different charger that's not designed for the scooter. Scooter chargers are usually very low amperage on there. So you'll want to get something like probably like 2 amps or a 1 amp charger for scooters. If you hook up a power chair charger to it, you're going to blow a fuse. And unfortunately, this one blew the fuse internally and not the circuit breaker. The consumer let the chair sit after that. And then that pretty much the battery's drained out. If you're not getting anything, and if the chair sat for 6 months or more, or the scooter or whatnot, usually it'll need new batteries on there. Or you could try and get them, bring them back to life, but I haven't seen too much success. So I have another 5 amp fuse. I'm going to swap it out right now. And then we'll go through and see if this port's going to work now, so it'll allow the new batteries to take a charge. Okay. And I'm just going to be the guy in the way real quick. Come on, you can do it. And if you give it words of encouragement, it makes it easier. So this fuse is blown. And see, so it's got that little black mark in the middle, and that connection's not being made. So this is a bad fuse. Verified that. So we went and got a new fuse in there, and let's go and try and check it real quick. So one there, and didn't put that in there. And now it's reading 25.4 volts. So that's good. So that means we have a connection. So now I will have to either use electrical tape and rewrap these, because I stripped them down when I found out what was going on it. So and then now that 5 amp fuse is there. Now you have to make sure you have the correct charger. This is a small charger. It works for it. I think it says the output is 1.8 amps. So this is perfect for a scooter. But if you use one of the big ones, that's like 5 amps or 8 amps, you could run into a problem. That's the issue with it, because it'll pop that fuse. And the only way to get in there is to go through and take the whole box apart. So we got those on there. We got that going. Let's test the charger just to make sure this charger is in turn good, because when I spoke to the consumer, he said, I think the charger's bad. So I made this little doohickey here. This is a little input, sort of like the one here. And then I just got the wires together, and then this is an output for a bad charger that I had. So there's a little go-between. This also works as like, a nice little jumper too, if you have to jump power to something to get a chair to work for a moment, or move things in the chair if it has dead batteries. You can hook it up to a new battery, run 2 little probes into there, and then jump it. Be very careful, because you could always pop fuses and stuff. So now I'm going to plug this side in here, and plug this side into here. Okay, so now I have a circuit, and it's showing it's charging, right? Well, let's see how much it is charging. So it did make that connection on there. So now we're going to go 1 port there, 1 port there, and we're getting 29.4 volts. That's great. So this thing's going to work on there. The charger's working. The fuse has been replaced. It looks like everything's good on it, and it's ready to roll. So now I just have to put it all back together, re-tape up these. You could either use electrical tape. These boxes are not waterproof. They're not water sealed. There's no rubber seals or anything on there, so they can get water inside. They're usually pretty resistant, but always err on the side of caution. So either you can wrap these two with electrical tape or shrink wrap, whichever your preference on there. And that's about it on the testing. So now we know that Scout batteries do have internal fuses, one that goes in the output out of the battery box from the batteries to the motor assembly in the drivetrain, and one goes on the input, which is a smaller 5 amp fuse on there. So that should be it. So we got those two set. I'll do a quick thing of putting it back together. Well, no, I think we're set on there. And yeah, there's just a little thing for your information. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out. Try to like us, thumbs up, everything, so we can get more followers and get more traction on our video series. And thank you so much for your time. To contact Independent Living Resource Center San Francisco or Wheelchair Repair Program, you can reach us at info@ilrcsf.org, our website, www.ilrcsf.org, our phone number, 415-543-6222, my extension is 2231, TTY 415-543-6698. My email is vincent@ilrcsf.org. Our wheelchair repair program, you can either call or text or shoot me an email, but call at 415-609-2555. Again, thank you for your time.